So let's talk about like let's compare Arena Assault or Mjolnir Strike. Actually, let's focus specifically on Mjolnir Strike because we talk a lot about AA on the stream. Let's compare Mjolnir Strike to Resonant Hero Battles. Okay. Resonant Hero Battles, I do not really like them. I do not like Resonant Hero Battles. I don't think they're very fun. They're not super hard, but like that doesn't necessarily mean that I find them fun, right? And I think a lot of people feel the same way, where they don't particularly like Resonant Hero Battles. Now the question becomes, why is that? And the answer is that Resonant Hero Battles are largely a chess puzzle, right? Like, Resonant Hero Battles is looking at the map and finding a line that leads to victory, right? You look at the board and you say, you actually can't face roll with Gale Force, surprisingly enough, in Resonant Hero Battles. But it's looking at the map and finding like the line where you go like, okay, these 4 things need to happen on this turn, and then these 4 things need to happen on the next turn, you know, like that stuff, right? You look at the board, you analyze the board state, you do the math, and then you put together a winning play, and then you execute, right? That is what Resonant Hero Battles is, right? The brain feel, to use a really dumb and vague term that I don't like very much, is the same as a chess puzzle, right? Where you deterministically solve it by applying sort of like board state heuristics and by thinking about, and by doing math, like literally just doing math, right? Some people find that very fun. Into the Breach, for example, is a very good game that has a lot of this kind of chess puzzle brain feel to it, right? Very good game, has a lot of that. Mjolnir Strike, on the other hand, is more about, as Zalimas kind of mentioned already, is emergent decision-making, right? Both modes are easy, right? Like Mjolnir Strike, like especially if you have like Edelgard or Gale Force units, is trivial, right? It is not hard at all to win in Mjolnir Strike, nor is it hard to win in Resonant Hero Battles. But the type of thinking, the type of mental effort that the player has to put in to play each of those modes well is very different. Playing Mjolnir Strike well is about responding to the things that happened on the previous turn, right? It's about making decisions and then reacting to the outcomes of your decisions so that you can make more better decisions. That is a very different type of experience than looking at a board state, solving it deterministically, and then just executing on your winning play. Fundamentally, this is why I think a lot of people don't like AR and they don't like Resonant Hero Battles. Because they just don't like sitting there solving a deterministic board state puzzle, and they much more prefer emergent decision-making heuristics, right? Mainline, for example, relies on this, where like the way that mainline Fire Emblem works is that you put together a strategy, or more accurately, you put together tactics, right? And then you execute on your tactics, but probability always gets in the way, right? Like maybe you miss, maybe they crit, maybe, you know, maybe a skill procs, you know, whatever, right? Those things can disrupt your tactics. And so the question is not just one of like finding the perfect line and executing on it. It's finding a line that is resilient to negative outcomes and having good like backup plans and contingencies that let you recover from unfortunate events or, you know, misplays or mistakes. That's really fun for me. I enjoy that, right? Some people prefer looking for the correct play, right? They enjoy finding the right decision. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I think it's fundamentally puzzle gameplay and not tactics gameplay. And I hope that clarifies the distinction between like Resonant Hero Battles and like AR with other modes, where like it's what makes them troublesome from like a design and like player engagement perspective, because I think certain players will never like those modes because the type of gameplay and the type of mental effort that goes into playing them is not enjoyable for those players. I hope that made sense. Like I really hope that made sense. I've been thinking about that a lot, but I think it's a very important thing to consider when you're designing a game, especially when you're designing like a game as a service, because the type of effort that you expect your player to put in is going to be really important for driving engagement in certain modes, right? So like, and keep in mind, this discussion is completely detached from difficulty, right? I want to make a distinction here. I think the frustration with something like Resident Hero Battles or AR is not just because those modes may be hard or easy. It's because they don't like the type of gameplay, right? If I wanted to, I could make Mjolnir Strike hard, right? Literally add 10 to every stat and the mode is now hard, right? Difficulty is a separate question from the type of thinking that goes into a mode. Mm-hmm. But like on the other hand, you know, there's a you know, I'm making this sound like negative, but like I want to stress that like puzzle gameplay is itself very rewarding and fun, right? The feeling of solving a difficult AR map or solving Resident Hero battles is more like, you know, cracking a code, right? Like even solving like a GHB or an LHB, right? It's that feeling of like you have that eureka moment where you go like, oh man, I get it now, right? I know what to do, and that's a very satisfying feeling after getting stuck, right? There's nothing wrong with enjoying that feeling, right? And there should be content that caters to players who enjoy that feeling. But like you run into these walls when you're a designer where you have to say like, I can't please these two groups of players with the same content. So my solution is to create different content for different types of players with the understanding that those communities may not mesh very easily, right?